other sessions, footfall from you guys are quite low. So last time and all when we had, I think certainly more than 20-25 participants. So whatever the strength is, we anyway conduct because we have uh, decided to do it. So in the session, what we're going to do is I'll be talking about a few things, right? I'll be introducing you to a few things on what professional writing or professionalism means. And this is not going to be like a lecture thing entirely. So I'll introduce you to a certain part. We'll have a discussion on that, and then we'll go back and do some activities related to that, right? So basically, we'll take up some questions which can push us into the direction of what we have already discussed, right? And we'll be using some interactive slides for that. So once I've finished talking on one part, I'll go back to that. I'll give you a link and an access to that, and then you can work on it. So not today, but tomorrow is when we are going to like practice on the full-fledged writing on the email. So we are in today's sessions only going to take up some build-up activities which can lead us to the final product, right? So each of it, this might look like a little more, little too overstretched, but then this is done with a purpose because while you craft something professionally, you should pay attention to every single part of it. So next time around, you shouldn't be saying that I don't know what this means, right? I don't know how to write when I don't know what are the conventions and standards of writing a professionally. And so that is the whole point. Okay. So before we get to the first one, which is the professional email, I'll talk to you a little bit about what we mean by professional writing, so on and so forth. Okay. So I hope the screen is visible to you. Okay. It's in full screen now. If there's any problem with that, please let me know. Change the settings. So, professional writing, is it so? A lot of people ask questions like, so is this similar to technical writing? Is this similar to scientific writing? So, the answer is very simple. Technical writing or scientific writing or research writing, for that matter, if you've heard of, they all are types of professional writing, right? So, which means this is the umbrella term which folds all the other types of writing that I just mentioned. So, technical writing is nothing but, say, a lab report that you write, right? Or any simple report that you write about, say, for example, a boot camp that you have undertaken, or a report that you have written about an experiment that you have performed in the lab. All of that would be counted as technical writing, including people who write blogs. Say you are someone who specialize in, technology, and say you are simply a reviewer of the new gadgets in the market, right? Say you are someone who write vlogs on newly introduced technology and their products in the market. What you're essentially doing is you're doing technical writing. You're writing technically about the products, or you're writing more about the technology involved in the product. If it is anything that is related to a domain that is specific in nature, then we call it technical writing, right? Same goes for scientific writing. Now, scientific writing is a little more than, or if I'm not supposed to use the word more, it's a little more serious of an activity than technical writing. So, technical writing could be anything like I mentioned, even writing a vlog could be considered like that, right? But scientific writing would be a little different. This means you are going to put together documents which has to be actually used by the customers or your clients as a reference manual or a booklet, right? So people who write, say, something like a lab manual, or someone who curates a catalog for a product, or someone who prepares the stamps that need to be pasted on, say, a tablet cover. These are all people who are called scientific writers, because the details that they put in these documents are more specialized in nature, right? This is not something that is accessible to a larger audience or an ordinary audience. What they write is actually meant for a specialized audience, right? Which is why we call it a scientific writer. Same goes for research writing. I don't think I need to discuss that, right? So everybody cannot read a research paper. You need to have some kind of domain specific knowledge in order to approach the content written in that, right? So both technical research or scientific writing fall within the ambit of professional writing. Professional writing is a broader word that you use to address these things, right? What also falls within the professional writing are what you see on the screen, the document, any document such as a report or memos that are issued in a an organization, emails, the one that we just discussed, proposals. That is, proposals here means the proposal reports, like for something like a budget proposal, or a proposal for a new location of the office, so on and so forth. Something like that, or manuals that you write at your workplace, or even the formal presentations that you make in your space, they all fall within the domain of professional writing, right? Why do we add presentations? Because in formal presentations, it is always advised that people prepare a manuscript, right? So you don't simply go with a slide and then start presenting. The actual way, or the right way to do it, is to prepare the slides as well as have a manuscript, as well as a written document, which follows the course of your slides, so that you can present to your client, or you present to your audience in the format of a narrative, right? You basically tell them like you are telling a story, and this story, which is basically a scientific document, needs to be written as a manuscript. So automatically writing, and particularly professional writing, becomes a part of the presentation, even though the actual presentation is given in speech or delivered in the mode of the it's more like a speech delivery, right? So that also requires you to have a document with it. Some companies, some clients, they do ask you for it. So some people call it handouts, but some people ask you more than handouts. They would tell you, I want a document of this presentation that you have just created. I would like to keep it as a record, or I would like to use it for further reference later on. So formal presentations in that way, particularly business presentations or sales presentations, sometimes they're also documented. So how you do it is also part of the professional writing, which is why you see the word presentations also added along with the documents that are considered professional writers. Okay. Now, there are three main things that classify, or three main things that make professional writing different from other forms of writing, particularly creative writing or fictional writing. What are those? The first one is accuracy. Now, here, accuracy doesn't just mean factual accuracy. Okay. When I say the document should be accurate in its nature, or what you put inside your document should be accurate, I'm not simply talking about, write factual details. Write something that is factual in nature. Don't write anything that is incorrect or non factual. That's not the only point. Of course, that is one point that you need to keep in mind. But what we're also trying to say is the legal obligations associated with it, right? So, professional write up, whether that's memos, reports, these are, like I mentioned, they're documentations that are recorded. They're preserved. This is not something that you simply submit and it is thrown away or shredded somewhere. These are all very carefully documented. Why are they documented? Because most often than not, they're filed as official documents of the project or of the product that two clients or the companies are working on. So any glitch or any problems that happen in the future, they need to be, this particular document also becomes a part of the record there, right? So accuracy here doesn't just then refer to, writing the correct details. It also means that you have included other documents that are important for, keeping your project or keeping your business legally bound, right? That is the point. Conciseness, of course, all these documents, they have a certain word limit, they have a certain page limit. So it's not like you can go on writing whatever you want there, or the length of the document is more often than not, it is decided, right? So if it is a report, if it is a larger report, it's a study that you're presenting, then usually you are set to present it within, say, a 60 or 100 pages, right? These are for the larger projects. If it is just a proposal for finding a new location for your office, to find a serviceable location for your company, then it might just run into a few pages, say 10 pages, 15 pages. So long and short formats exist in both cases, but whatever it is, there is certainly a requirement of maintaining conciseness, right? Now, conciseness here is not just about the length of the document. When you say, of course, it is um, uh, broadly speaking, it is about, not making anything bulky. The reason being, you're dealing with a more professional space, and people do not have the time and space to, invest in the long write up that you write. So while that is the That is one of the reasons. Conciseness is also because if you write too much or if you write more than what is relevant, then what you write loses clarity. And in the business world and in the professional world, people don't have that kind of time to squander, right? They'll require you to make things more clear and keep it more concise so that there can be some action that can be done on that, right? So this is not something that you do for fun. People write these documents so that some suitable actions can be taken, some work or some action can be done on that. So for that reason, conciseness has to be a major property, a major characteristic feature of all professionally written documents, so that the source remains credible, it remains more accessible, and it remains more clear, right? There's more clarity to the work that you've done. And the last part is adherence to specific conventions and standards. This is also another feature that you will see across all professional documents. And this could include anything starting from the size of your document to the format of the document, right? Every company, for example, they either follow a general format or some companies have their own formats and their own templates to run certain things. Sometimes there is a universal standard, right? So if you're particularly somebody who's working in fields like biotechnology, for example, you have universal standards for everything, right? So about how you collect the sample, how you go about the experiment, there's always a protocol that needs to be followed, particularly in medicine, fields like allied fields, medicine and allied fields, and biotechnology and things like that, where the risk for health hazards is quite high, right? So they definitely have very stricter conventions and standards. They'll have a different template or a different format in which all the records need to be maintained. So all of this is applicable to the professional write-ups that are written in that area. Even if we are not talking about something like medicine and allied fields, even if we are talking about, say, some very ordinary report written at our office, it will still follow a certain template and format, right? The organization will tell you, this is the format in which I want you to write it. This is the template that we have mandated across anything that is written in our organization, and you as an employee here is expected to follow this. You're not allowed to use your own template or any random template from some. So adherence to the conventions and standards in terms of the templates and formats, and in terms of how the documentation itself has to happen, accuracy and conciseness would become the basic three elements on which your professional writing. Okay. So that is just a quick introduction to what we mean by professional writing. I'm not going to discuss this part because I think most of you will know this one. This is simply about how it is different from literary writing. So just to bind it up in just two sentences, we know that literary writing doesn't have any purpose usually, right? This is mostly written for leisure. It is not what we call as purpose driven, right? There isn't a purpose that it is trying to fulfill, or even if it is not like a formal or a professional purpose, right? Mostly it is written to entertain and amuse. So the language then used in literary writing is very different from what you see in professional writing, right? So what is the plus point here? You can teach people how to write professionally. You can train people how to write professionally. It's a skill that you can acquire. But literary writing is more like it's like an inherent, it's not a skill, right? Anything that is a skill can always be learned and acquired. But literary writing is something that is more creative in nature. It is something that is more on the talent side. That is, can you teach it? Yes, you can teach it, but of course you cannot, uh, let people use these things in the way you want them to, right? Because this is more dependent on how someone can use their imaginations. But if you're talking about professional writing, this is not you never use your imagination, right? You're not allowed to do that. Whatever you present in the document, both linguistically and content wise, needs to be factual in nature. It needs to be direct and specific, and the tone that you use has to be more formal, right? You're allowed to use only objective tone. You do not, by which we mean we do not get to use personal tones while you are writing anything professional, right? So this is like very preliminary difference between the professional and the literary writing. we don't have to go over it. So what we'll do in the due course of time is that we look at how can we do this, right? So how do I construct a simple sentence? How can I keep my tone formal, objective, or impersonal while I'm writing professionally? I'll show you examples of how that is done. More than us harping on what is the exact difference. So instead of doing that, what we'll do is we'll look at examples and we'll look at samples of writing that we have, which will tell us what makes a writer professional and what makes it, more casual and spontaneous, which is what we see in literary writing. Okay. Uh, then elements of writing skills in professional writing. I think we already discussed this. There are a few more things that are added on the slide. So of course, clarity and conciseness is a required part. Along with it, what you require is audience awareness, because I told you that this is a specialized form of writing. Your audience is not an ordinary audience. You will have a set of people who are knowledgeable in the domain that you are presenting or you're writing about. So you need to know what kind of audience am I writing to. Now, the same thing, for example, say you're a scientist, you are a research writer, right? And you're going to write about your research somewhere. So if your audience is too large and it's a diversified audience, by which I mean if your audience is a layman, okay, someone who's not specialized in the area, the kind of tone and language that you use to present your research idea would be very different from when you're writing to a specialized group of audience, right? So if you're submitting the same research for a publication in a journal in your area, you're going to use more specialized vocabulary, more specialized language, because the ones who are reading it they're your peers, they're from your field. They'll understand. You don't have to make it very simple for them. But the same thing, if you're presenting, say, you're going to talk about it in a seminar, or you're going to talk about it in, through an op-ed in the newspaper, then your language changes. You need to adjust your language, your tone for the larger diversified audience who probably is not specialized. They may not know as deep as you know about it, right? So this transformations between, the use of language is decided based on the audience. And for that matter, we need to be aware of the audience, right? This is applicable not just to writing. Remember, this is also applicable to speaking, right? So when you go and talk, when you're asked to deliver, make a presentation in front of someone, first thing as a good presenter that you should know is ask the committee or whoever is requesting you to make the presentation, ask them who will be my audience. Try to get a profile of the audience who would come and listen to you. If it's a specialized audience, the job is easier for you because you just need to present your work. They know what you are saying, well and done. But if you're going to get a more diversified audience who are not exactly, from your field, then you will have to adjust your speech or your presentation accordingly, right? Which is why this particular part is very, very important in the professional writing, whether that is writing or speech. Okay? Tone and style again, right? So tone and style both needs to be adjusted. Although usually, by and large, we say that in professional writing, tone and style has to be formal, or what we call as objective, right? So there should be no personalized elements, no informal elements in that. But of course, depending on who your audience is, you can change the degree of the formality, right? So if it is a specialized audience, you can keep it formal. If it is more diversified, you can make it a little semi-formal to informal, right? If you're talking to children about your work, then of course you cannot use either semi-formal or formal language. You'll have to make it a little informal to keep it engaging, right? So this change in the tone and the style is dependent again on the audience awareness, right? And finally, you have the grammar and mechanics, which these days is easier because you have all tools available. You need to run both your writing as well as formal presentation and speech to ensure that there are no errors of grammar and mechanics, particularly in writing, because remember, this is a document. This is going to be accessed by others. So you have to make sure that there are minimal errors as possible. Okay. Yeah, yes. Any question, anyone?
Actually, your slides, which slides are on your screen? Now it's changed. Actually, uh, from the
Oh,
starting, when you have changed uh, slides, so they are
mm.
not visible on the screen.
Oh, really? You should have told that at that point. Okay, I'll keep this minimized so that you can see it better. Okay. I think when I go to the full screen, the screen size is it changing now?
Yes, ma'am, it's changing.
Okay. All right. So these are some of the additional features that you would see in professional writing. Of course, formatting and layout. This I think we discussed briefly. Document types, you have to check whether you're supposed to submit it in the form of a report, or are you asked to submit this as a more like a proposal document. Are they asking you to submit it like an internal report, or are they telling you to submit this as an externally done work, right? All of this document types you need to figure out based on the requirement of the organization that is asking you to write it, right? Research and citation, very important. Remember, this is a professional document. So you're going to definitely refer to other documents, others' work, which might be, in the similar lines. So whatever you're going to present is a well-studied work, right? So in that case, I mean, this is specifically in the case of reports and proposals and project summaries and all that. They're all well-studied documents, right? So you can't compile them without having referred to some other documents. It could be the documents could be in the form of another report. It could be in the form of an article that was published in a journal or a newspaper. It could be some visuals like visual elements like tables or figures or charts that you have referred to put your work together. Whatever they are, all of them needs to be cited in the work. If you're using them to write your document, you're making a reference to them to make a point, then all of them needs to be carefully cited, right? You can't just lift it off without giving any credits to the original author of that. Editing and proofreading. Editing and proofreading is the last step that you do once you've written the document. First, you proofread, right? Proofreading is basically correcting surface level spelling errors and grammar and all that. Editing is when you make corrections for the content that you've written. So you revisit your content and you see if you have written, have you achieved your purpose? Have you written things that you have required to write? Have you included all the relevant details? Did you add anything that is irrelevant to your study? All of this comes under the editing part, right? Professional ethics. What does professional ethics here stand for? So, for example, if you were required to obtain consent or no objection certificate or no conflict of interest documents from your other parties involved, uh, you need to ensure that all of that is also attached to your documents, right? This I am particularly talking with respect to professional documents like reports and project summaries, right, which happens at a large scale organizational level. That we'll do only in the second part of the workshop, which is the next set, reports. But for this run, we're only looking at professional emails. These days, all of these ethics and code are also applicable to emails. I don't know if you've seen, at least I see in my organization here, some of the mails when they are sent uh, to us, they carry the confidential marker sign, right? It's written confidential. Now, if it is said confidential, what does it mean? It means I cannot share it with anybody. I cannot screenshot it. I cannot forward it. And some of the emails would very specifically maintain, will write something. It says that the contents in the email are meant for only the members of the organization. Forwarding or copying them in any other form is prohibited and would be considered illegal and prosecutable. Have you seen this? If you work in companies and organizations, you should know this, right? Some organizational mails come with this disclaimer, which means this is only for the people who are stakeholders of that organizations. You're not allowed to screenshot it and share it, right? Why has this happened? Because now we live in a digital world and anybody can screenshot anything, put it up anywhere. And if it is removed out of the context and pasted somewhere, if it is something about a company policy or some company decision, not only it means that there could be financial losses if this secret is let out to people, it is also that you are not ethical in your compliance to the company. You're not keeping the things of the organization within the organization. You're taking it out and telling people, right? Particularly, this has come up after, there's this age of LinkedIn where people overshare. LinkedIn is a platform we all know that where people share all kinds of things. It began as a very professional and formal platform, but now the same. It is good in the sense that it helps you network very well and it helps you hold up very well. But sometimes it goes a little out of control, right? At least I have seen. There is a problem of oversharing in LinkedIn, which is a problem in all social media platforms, right? But social networking platform is different from, a space like LinkedIn where um, people are more professionally connected than anything else. So while all these cases were on high rise, the companies did generate that, okay, now that we're doing most of the things electronically through emails and messages, maybe we should put in this disclaimer. We should let the employers know that they're not allowed to share certain things that we forward to them without consent. Some of the thing definitely is confidential. You're not allowed to share it anyway. So all of these things which initially were included in the written documents are now seen in the emails and in the other forms of electronic, writing up systems as well, right? So what changed is not professional writing. Professional writing before also was like this. What changed is the medium in which we are delivering it. So whatever happened in the physical domain has now been taken to the electronic domain as well. Okay, that's the only change you see. So all of this under the professional ethics part. So if you are someone who draft emails for the company or you're asked to do that, it's not very uncommon these days to ask people to do this as well. That please add a disclaimer note to your email, right? Tell them who can use it and who cannot use it. Adaptability again is it's about the adaptability could be about anything. It could be about the adaptability of the medium, as in should I write this on the social media? Am I writing this as a physical copy? So if it is a physical copy, then what is the norm that I should follow to write it? If it is a social media platform, then how should I write this up? Right? In within social media itself, how should my Facebook post look as opposed to how should my Twitter post look, right? So Twitter or X, whatever it is called now, right? So that has a limitation. So we don't write long posts, although that I think that age is gone. In Twitter, people used to really, you need to be really good with the language to write a tweet. But now they have removed that barrier. Um, so the point is, as you change from a medium to the other, whether it's a physical medium or electronic medium, there are certainly some changes of language and tone that you need to adapt to. Right? Adaptability is then with respect to medium. It could be adaptability could also be with respect to audience. We talked about that. So you adapt based on the audience that you have. Right? So it could be more than one thing. It is not just about yeah, any question? Somebody had their hands raised. I heard, but then I did not hear.
Yeah, I thought we were on the next slide for professional emails, but I think you are on the same slide. Yeah.
No, no, no. I'm on the same slide. Okay. So yeah, so with all that background, this is what we are expected to do with professional writing. And for our class particularly, we are going to talk about professional emails, right? I think there is some mix-up in the slide. So it's okay. I think the topic that I want to discuss could be applicable to emails also. So emails, they what they did is they had basically replaced our traditional letters, right? Both formal and informal. So these days, again, informal emails have been replaced with WhatsApp, right? So if there is something that is not very urgent, or even if it is urgent, actually, right? So people, they would just prefer texting over going to the, Gmail, write down an email and send it, because the readability rate, right? The open rate of the message is higher in case of WhatsApp over Gmails, right? So just to make sure that the work gets actually done, people could message on WhatsApp these days, even if it is a formal thing. But there are still certain formal domains where WhatsApp messages aren't considered formal enough, or it is not considered authentic and credible enough. For that purpose, even today, people are required to draft a formal professional email so that uh, the client or the participant takes it more seriously, right? They know, okay, there's an official mail about this, means this is something that is actually happening, and this is not like a random thing that has come to me on WhatsApp. So this work was initially done by the letters, the official formal letters in the early 80s, 90s periods. Then we eventually, for the sake of convenience and ease, we moved to professional emails to get this thing, right? Again, like in the case of emails, I said that emails were replaced a bit by WhatsApp in our times. Similarly, in the case of letter and emails also, you would see that even today, some of the highly confidential affairs are still carried out on pen and paper, right? Or printed papers, whatever. We still do not prefer the online platform because you're like the risk is higher, right? Once something is on the internet, is always on the internet. There's no way you take it down. So if it is something that is very, very confidential, highly confidential, something that maybe say involves something like national security, people would still go. There are domains where people will prefer having an overt written communication physically over electronic medium, right? So these are all like contextual. These are all situational things. But whatever the case is, whether it is physical, whether it is electronic, whether it is more messenger oriented, the message that is coded in professional writing, they look the same. They follow a particular format and template, and that is similar across. Okay. So yeah, this is the tone in emails could be formal, semi-formal, informal, depending on who you are writing to, right? Um, Letter, the length of the email always shorter than a letter, right? You don't have the space to go on writing in the email because people are not going to bother to read that much. Tone, style, and language, obviously, it will follow your other general professional writers, right? So if it has to be a formal email, it will follow the formal style. If it is semi-formal, then semi-formal, and informal would take up its own time, right? Some general writing guidelines you have, which we call as the email writing etiquettes. Um, Email format, of course, then checking the name of the recipients. Looks very silly to add something like that on a slide like this, but then we all know that this is something that has happened to all of us, right? So double check your recipient's name, especially if you are an employee at an organization. We know we just discussed about how you're required to, keep the confidentiality levels in some case. So before you click on that send button, you see whether it is a actual recipient that you're supposed to send it, or are you sending it off to a different person who's not related, right? Proofread all your emails. Do not send in a lazy, non-checked, non-edited email to anybody because that's going to leave a very bad impression. These days, it's easier because you have all kind of AI assistants. Google has inbuilt Google Assistant to do that for you. So make use of it. Do not just lazily send in an, unedited, non-revised and corrected email. Uh, Use of emojis, right? Professional emails, it's a big no. Never use emojis, emoticons while you're sending a professional email to someone. Shorthands, only if they are universal abbreviations, use them in your emails. Otherwise, do not coin a shorthand by yourself and write them in the email. Subject line of the email, this is a separate section. We'll deal with them separately. So we'll do it whenever that comes in. But for the time being, remember that your subject line of the email has to be short and specific, right? A lot of us don't bother. I've seen a lot of people will send an email without a subject line. Okay, so that part they don't even bother. But that shouldn't be the case. If you're writing a professional email, it should definitely have a subject line, and it should be short and specific. Okay. Appropriate salutations, very, very important. Do not start an email, just don't start writing, I am writing for this and this. Have your greetings and pleasantries in place because we're dealing with a formal domain, right? Tone should be appropriate, which means it should be objective, right? Other guidelines, um, respond to emails promptly. Now, it is a little difficult for people to believe when I say this that there is actually a time frame for responding to an email, right? Particularly in the professional setup. So, if the email comes from someone who's higher up in hierarchy at your workplace, then usually the time frame to respond to that email is 1 day, right? You should provide a response to that person within 1 day at least. You do not acknowledge the email or send a response even post 24 hours, that's considered a serious offense in the professional domain, right? It means that you're not even reading your email, right? So from anyone who's higher up in the hierarchy, say someone who's above you in the hierarchy, the time frame for you to send off that email is 24 hours. So you respond within 24 hours. If it is at the same level as you could either use the same strategy of 24 hours, or you can take maybe a couple of more hours than that, maximum say 2 days, right? But if it is somebody from the organization outside yours, right? Now, the first two cases was for people within the organization, one above the hierarchy and one who is at the same level. Okay. But in case if this is from a person who's outside your organization, say like a business client, then the time frame for the response is even lesser. Ideally, you should be responding to them within a couple of hours, right? 2 to 4 hours should be your time frame. Now, if you do not know what to respond, for example, sometimes you get a query and you do not know what to respond to. Even then, within that couple of hours, you should at least send them an acknowledgement email saying that I have received your email, I've read your email, I'll get back to you with the details of the question that you asked, right? Do not just leave it. Don't think that, okay, I don't know the answer, so I will maybe first go find out and then, respond. No. So if you do not know, you acknowledge it, tell them that you'll be back with an answer. Okay. This is usually how you respond to emails, especially if it is an email that comes from an external agent, right? Somebody who's not from your organization. In that case, the response have to be prompt and quick and swifter in that case, right? Because we're talking about professional fields, and here time means money. So if you're not going to respond to them, you can lose on that offer or lose on that order. So your response and your public relations matter in such cases, and swift response to a query is a part of it. Okay. So from that point of view, from a very different, this is not about writing, but from a very practical and a business point of view, this time frame of response is very important. Avoid responding to emails if angry or non-composed, because no prize for guessing that, right? Even if you have a complaint to raise, you're aggrieved, you want to raise some complaint to the grievance cell, please do not write when you're not composed, right? So do not think that, okay, this person has wronged me, so I can go ahead and, tell them whatever I want on an email. Remember, these are all official documents. This would be recorded. So while the predator's action would be noted, your language and your way of addressing it will also be made a note of. And you do not want to have a backseat when it comes to things like this, right? So make sure that you do not use any unparliamentary language, even if it is a complaint that you're okay. So that's on the etiquettes. But what I was looking is, I think I have missed out on some. Yeah, this is one slide which I wanted to particularly discuss with you. So while we spoke a lot about the formal aspects of language, I want you to look at this particular slide and see what is considered as informal language, or what are instances of informal language. What is it that we cannot use in professional emails? So group jargons, are you aware of group jargons? In-group specialized language. Can you give me an example of that, possible? If there is anybody who works at an office, or even maybe say among your classmates, somebody, right? Do you have an example for this? Group jargons. Think about it if you have any example for this. I have it, but I want to hear from you before I can give it.
Short forms. Like,
Yeah, they are short forms. They could be short forms also, but that's not the point we're discussing. As someone did is quote for, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Quote
So anytime anything that breaks, our common jargon is yeah, code फट गया, कुछ
for,
गड़बड़ हुआ है.
okay, okay. Right. So, like you look at this instance, like he knew the meaning to that, and people who work with him will know what code fatgya means, right? But someone who was outside that circle, like me, I had to clarify from him. I had to ask him, what does that mean? And what are the instances where you use it, right? Now, this is called a group jargon, something that is a specialized language which is used among the which is shared among the members of a particular group, okay, an in group. This kind of language is not something that is allowed in professional setups. Why? Because of the same reason. It is ambiguous, it is vague. I don't know what it means. If that figures in my document, I'll have to call back and ask what did this mean, right? So, while the example that you gave was like more conversational in nature, even in the written language, people can come up with, abbreviations or short phrases like the one you had, which could completely be removed in meaning for an outsider, right? So, group jargons then are one instance of informal language use, and this is not allowed in professional writing. The second group, slangs, idiomatic expressions, colloquialism. So the examples that I have is a mix of English and Tamil, and these are expressions which we figured um, from some employees in a certain department here while they wrote emails to each other, right? So the first one, I think, first and the second one would be familiar to all. You all, okay, ASAP, and then comes some of the Tamil phrases and words that we saw in the professional emails that were either received at our end or some other people have received in the organization, right? So words like macha or sema or akka or anna. So dear akka or dear anna, right? Words like YOLO and yo. These are all what constitute uh, what we call as colloquialisms and slangs mostly. Okay. Idiomatic expressions also come in. Can you give me example of idiomatic expressions? So what I have on screen are slangs and colloquialism examples. Idiomatic expressions, can you tell me a few of them? At least one of them. I have an example for that. This again was discussed by, I think, some professor here for a lecture, and he was uh, talking about how Indians write emails. So this professor is an
One
Indian
is
who works abroad. So
hit,
which one?
hit, the, hit the sack.
Sorry, I did not hear you well.
I'll type it in the chat box.
Okay. But anybody else? Any examples? Idiomatic expression. So idiomatic expression basically means something that is non-literal, right? Hit the sack. So what does hit the sack mean, Praveen? Oh, you mean it's an idiomatic? No, not like that. Okay. So once in blue moon, the sack, these kind of things, they're popular, right? They're popular usages. But I'll give you an example. I'll tell you what idiomatic expression. Yeah, you're right. Actually, idiomatic expressions which are acceptable in English also are not allowed in professional write-up because they can make your write-up vague and ambiguous, right? I'll give you a very cultural example of this. So this is again not my own example, something that I heard from somebody, some professor who spoke about this. So he did mention one thing that when he receives emails from Indians, right, a while ago, Indian students used to write. So usually you begin by saying either greetings of the day or simply begin with dear Dr. So and so. But some people, because Indians are very fond of being polite in their language, right? Whenever they want to. So when they are polite, they are extremely polite. If not, then they are out of the league. So somebody wrote an email to him which began with the expression greetings with folded hands. Okay. So greetings with folded hands is not something that is culturally, if this has been written to a prof who's non-Indian, right? They won't understand what is greetings with folded hands. They don't know what greetings with folded hands means, right? Because do they fold their hands when they greet? They don't, right? It's not a cultural thing for them anymore. Okay. They simply say greetings or they simply say hi or hello or all that, right? Yeah, correct. Yes, so all of these things which are more cultural for us, like even folding your hands while you say namaste or whatever. This is not something that is familiar to people in the professional setup there. So a phrase like greetings with folded hands will put them off. They'll be like, what does greetings with folded hand mean? Right? Although you're only meaning to be polite, all you were trying to do is be a little polite. Okay. Uh, you basically replace namaste with greetings with folded hands. That's what you were trying to say. So these are also then cultural idiomatic expressions, which when encoded in language sounds really weird, right? Because language is also culture. It is also an expression of the culture. So you put something like that into a language that is not culturally yours, you could end up with phrases like this, which sounds very strange to the users of that language. So in professional writing, especially in emails, because we're talking about that in it, because it contains salutations in its format, make sure that you're not using anything that is weird and vague, right? Something that is not meaningful to the reader. So that is one example of slang, idiomatic expression, colloquialism. Third variety, stereotypical and biased language. Now, these days, people are very, very strict about use of biased languages. The bias could be encoded in the language in terms of gender, in terms of races, in terms of ethnicity, in terms of religion, in terms of caste, okay, or in terms of what is that, disability, right? So one needs to ensure that when you're writing down some document professionally, your language doesn't carry the bias of any of social categories, right? I've only given examples based on gender biases because that's the easiest one to decode in a language. Look at examples here: mankind, manpower, chairman, man-made, right? The problem here is not that someone is using a word like mankind, manpower. So we're not pinpointing on that part. But what you're trying to say is that use language as much neutrally as possible, right? Use words, choose your words in such a way that they do not express bias, the Asian man or woman. No, that is, you name the race, it is fine. But if you're using a different name to raise to name the race, then that should be a problem. Sometimes people have their own coinages, right? We are very aware of all that. And within India, we do that a lot. You want to refer to a people from a certain part of the country, instead of calling them by their actual name, you have other, yeah, nigger for African, yes, exactly. So this is a racial bias in language. You could very well say, Black American, if at all your point was about talking about the African Americans, right? You either say African American or Black Americans. Why is saying Black American okay? Because that particular phrase has been accepted by the community. The community accepts to be called Black Americans. Since that consent comes from the community itself, we are allowed to use it. But anything that we coin by ourselves is not allowed, right? And is showing possible traits of biases. Yeah, mankind you replace with humankind, right? You simply say human, right? Yeah, you are right. Right. Exactly. So any sort of racial differences based on physical differences, we have names for all that. So instead of addressing them by their race or by the place they come from, we have all kind of derogatory things that we've come up with ourselves, right? So this again definitely something that is not allowed in the professional space, and in writing particularly, it can attract um, even legal actions, right? Chairperson, yes, you're right. You can say chairperson, or you can even say simply chair. You can say the chair of the meeting. Instead of saying chairman or chairperson, you simply say chair. Chairperson, of course, is more neutral when compared to chairman, but you could also say just the chair, right? Manpower, you could simply say human resource. Man made, you can simply say something that is synthetic, right? Instead of saying. But these are all, they're all a little recent, at least at the time when I was growing up, or we were in schools for that matter. we were very lavishly using words like man-made. Oh, man-made versus natural. What's a man-made product and what's a natural product? So these are all something that have been curated not a long while ago. So it could probably just be a decade and a few years more that people have thought that, okay, there's a lot of biases that has become a part of our language too because of the way we have been conditioned. So we need to now actively use words that are more neutral, right? Something that is, if not neutral, at least not biased. Okay. So that's the point here, stereotypical and biased language. Then you have informal phrasal verbs. Informal phrasal verbs, of course, there are formal phrasal verbs as well. But phrasal verbs by nature are considered a little informal because they are more commonly used in speech, in conversational language, right? In written language, as much as possible, try to stay away from the phrasal verb constructions. Try to use more active and, you know,
Hello?
Yeah, she's not audible for anyone. Yeah, that's fine.
microphone is switched off. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am,
ma'am.
we can hear.
Okay, right. So contractions is also something that you need to stay away from. Okay, so you expand it entirely, especially professional emails. I have because there's no much of a difference these days between how people are writing in the messengers, the WhatsApp or otherwise. They use the same kind of language. They have a tendency to do that even in professional emails. So make sure that you're expanding, right? You say, I will, you have, she is, we will, they will. Expand it fully. Do not use these contractions, right? That are more commonly used in conversational language and not professional. Okay. Call off is a phrasal verb. Yes, you try and avoid phrasal verbs as much as possible, but there are some phrasal verbs which I think we use where, mostly in the formal domains. Maybe they can be, but try to keep your verbs more synthetic. Keep them use more of main verbs than phrasal verb complexes. That's the point. Okay. Okay. So I think that is that. Now we're going to begin with the part on emails. So before we do that, just a quick look at the contents of a professional email. So any professional email is going to have these 8 parts. Compulsorily, all the 8 parts. Eighth one may be, optional. In case you have attachments, you can have them. Otherwise, no. But the first 7, all the 7 parts should be intact in a professional email. For an email to qualify as a professional email, you need all of them. First one is the subject line, compulsory. You cannot skip the subject line. Oh, 1 second, 1 second. Something has started playing in the background. Just give me. Okay, sorry about that. So you begin with a subject line. Like I mentioned, it is very important that you have this in your professional emails. And whenever you do that, it is also important that you keep it short and specific. Okay, so we look at that part separately. I have a whole section on how to write an effective subject line. So you begin with a subject line, then comes your greetings, or what we also call as the salutations of the professional email. That's actually the first part that we're going to deal with today. Then followed by the purpose line. So if you look at the body of the email, Professional email is a very short email, right? It is usually not more than 80 to 100 words, which means everything that you want to convey needs to fit within 3 and maximum 4 sentences. You don't go beyond that, right? So for that matter, we have divided the body of the email into 2 or 3 parts. And within that, the first sentence in the body would be the purpose line. After the greetings, what you have is a purpose statement. Then you have the details of the purpose. Third sentence is going to be the closing remarks. Now, this part, the fifth one, closing remarks, is a compulsory element in all professional emails. Okay. So you have seen lines like, I look forward to meeting with you soon. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Right. That kind of sentences, they are referred to as closing remarks. And closing remarks is a very important part in any professional email. So that is also necessary. Why do we need it and all? We'll discuss while we are looking at that part. For the time being, this is again after purpose line and the details sentence. The next sentence, which is the final sentence in the professional email, is the closing remarks. That is then followed by the complimentary close, right? Wherein you say best wishes, regards, sincerely, etc. That's called the complimentary close, followed by signature. Now, in signature for professional emails, people use different uh, elements into it. Some people would simply write their name, designation, and their official address. Some people will go one step ahead. They'll leave their contact number, email ID. Some people will even leave their social media, um, profile links. Some people will leave their LinkedIn profiles, or some will leave their Facebook profiles. These are all not necessary. But what is necessary in the signature is your name, your designation, and the organization that you are associated with, right? These 3 things are compulsory. So if you're a student, your name, even if you don't write your roll number, it's fine. Your name, your department, and the name of the institute and its address is very, very important. Okay. If you're a professional, your name, your designation, and the company address, right? Professionals would also, want to leave their contact ID. In case the email that you're using to contact is not something that you use regularly and you want to send in an official ID that you use, you can add it to that. Social media profiles are optional, right? If you wish to add and if you think it will improve your reach, then of course, if you think the client needs to take a look at what you do, then leave it ahead. Otherwise, you can choose, you can opt out from using your social media links or profiles. Okay. But whether that is used or not, what is important is definitely signing off with your name, designation, and your official address, right? So all these beginning from 1 to 7, they are um, importantly, as a student, you give your student ID. Yes. So name, student ID, and the college or the university that you are associated with and its address, right? This much will become your signature. Okay. All right. Attachment, of course, it is not a compulsory thing. If your email has one, then mention that in the email. That's all. If you're planning to send in an attachment with your email, make sure that your email says that there is an attachment with this. Okay. So that is the contents of a professional email. We'll go to the first thing, which is the greetings part, or what is also called as the salutations. So we are going to look at both the format of writing the salutation as well as how do you write it when you are writing in different formality levels. So on your screen, you see that there is a range of options that's given to you, beginning from the more formal to the less formal range, right? So the more formal, or what I also call is the most formal way of writing as a beginning an email, right? And when you're writing an email to one person, when your addressee or your recipient is one person, the most formal way of doing that would be first thing, dear, followed by the title, whether that is Mr. or Mrs. or Miss, whatever it is. If it is a professor, then you add professor, PROF dot. If it is a doctor, you say doctor, DR dot, right? Uh, Dear followed by the title, then followed by the person's name. Now, when you write the person's name, you have a couple of options in the formal way. Either you just write the last name of the person. So if my name is Lida Paul, and if you're writing an email to me, you write Dear Miss Paul. Okay, you have the option of writing it like that, Dear Miss Paul. Or you can also write my full name if you know it, right? You can say Dear Miss Lida Paul. Both of these options are considered formal. Okay. So either you say the full name or you say the last name. What you're not allowed is to write the first name. So you don't write Dear Miss Lida. Okay. So this is a convention that we follow in the professional email writing, that when you're writing an email formally, when your purpose is formal and you're writing to someone particularly whom you do not know, you are not familiar with, you never address them with their first name. Either you use full name or you use the last name of the person, right? So for if I am the recipient and you're writing to me, then you say Dear Miss Paul or Dear Miss Lida Paul, not Dear Miss Lida. Okay, or definitely not Dear Lida, right? That would be earmarked for people who are familiar with me. Say someone who's superior to me. Say if my professor writes to me, they'll write Dear Lida, right? Because they are higher in the hierarchy and they're allowed to do that, right? Even when they're higher in the hierarchy, for example, if my professor is writing to, a student who he's unaware of, who is unfamiliar with, in that case, again, even though he is a professor, he'll use the same format. Dear Miss, last name. Dear Miss, first name, last name. Okay. So familiarity matters here again. You're writing to an unfamiliar person, you always choose the formal way, right? You're writing to someone who's familiar but is higher in the hierarchy, again, you use the same formal way. You're writing to someone who's familiar but is lower in the hierarchy, you can simply keep it at Dear and the first name of the person. You can exclude the title and the last name and everything, right? So these are some conventions that we use in email writing, salutation of the email. Now look at the other part, Dear Selvam and Selvi. So this is how I get addressed from my superior, right? Who know me. Someone who knows me and who's my superior will write to me like this. Okay. Or even someone who knows me and is at the same level as me will write to me like this. Okay. Someone who is my superior will never write to me hello, right? This is a little informal. If they are my superior, they're not going to address me as a hello Lida. That's not how they're going to write. But someone who is at my same level can write that to me. So for them, they have two choices, right? So they either do the second choice, which is this one, Dear Lida, or they use the third one, which is Hello Lida, because we are at the same level. We know each other and we are at the same level. The last one can be written by someone who is familiar with me and who's more, more of a close acquaintance of me. Okay, so my relation with them is not strictly formal. They're my friends or they're my colleagues, and we share very good familiarity with each other. In this case, the last option comes in, Hi Lida, right? So they don't have to they don't have to bother with the formality levels at that part because we are friends, we are familiar, we know each other, so they can keep it to that, right? So last one would be considered very, the least formal. I will still not call it informal. It's still not an informal version, but it is the least formal among the four options that we have just discussed. Okay. Just remember that the first one is for people who you do not know at all and for people who are higher up in hierarchy for you. Second one is for people who you're familiar with, but they are, either at the same level or they are, your subordinate and all. This is definitely not for people who are higher in the hierarchy. Third is for people who are at the same level only. So any higher authority or anybody will not write to you hello. And the last is strictly for people who are, whose familiarity levels are very high and they're mostly at the same level. The formal levels between them don't matter. Yeah. Any question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yeah.
many of the people use respected Selvam or Mrs. Selvi. So
Ah,
where does this exist in this hierarchy alignment?
respected. See, respected again, say something is very Indian. Okay, we are the only ones who write respected sir and madam. In the actual English salutations, you will never find this word respected. It is something that is, it is not bad. It is something that, again, like I told you, we have this problem of being over polite, at least when we are writing. Huh? So, in that context, we have come up with this respected sir, madam, respected this, that, and even expressions like yours faithfully, yours truly. All of these are something that has come up from our continent, our subcontinent, right? uh, if you look at the actual letters and the emails that they write in their part of the country, they don't write all these things. They would simply say sincerely or best regards. So this yours obediently. At some point, I have also in school seen people writing that yours obediently, yours faithfully. They don't mean anything, right? They're just very rhetorical, polite. What is that called? Honorific usages. Uh, they don't serve any purpose. So right now, what we do is in the formal language, we are doing away with most of it. Respected still some people would use. If you ask me what category they fall in, they definitely fall in the formal, the first one, right? It is maybe very similar to saying dear Mr. So and so. Okay. But make sure that when you're writing professional emails, you go to this from now onwards. Try and write it with this dear Mr. Swans, right? Not respected. We don't need that anymore. Okay. Yeah. Then okay. So same thing if we are doing writing, same thing, but now the number of people who you're writing to has changed. The first one was one to address to one person. This one is for addressing several people, right? So in that one, the more formal version would be simply saying dear all, right? Now I'll tell you there are little differences, a bit of a differences in all of this. But if uh, the mail you are sending to involves people who are all at the same levels, right? So, for example, say I am writing an email to you all, right, about a class that has to happen on some day. Then I will use dear all, okay? Because I know that anybody who's sitting in my class is not, there is no hierarchical differences between you from the point of view of a teacher. So I'll say dear all. But say, imagine you are writing to somebody. There are about 5 or 10 people. But say two among them, I'm organizing a session and it is open to both students and teachers, right? So of course, there is going to be some difference in the hierarchy there. Say two professors who I know are also going to attend this session. Okay, they say they're interested in coming and listening to what I'm saying. So then what do I do? Because of the difference in the hierarchy, if I have people who bear more power in the system, then I'll have to write their names separately. So my email then will start as Dear Professor X, comma, Professor, sorry, not comma, Dear Professor X and Professor Y, okay, and all of you, okay. So this all of you represents what? Everybody else. Okay, everybody else. So they are all in the same level for me, but these two people, they're hierarchically above me, so they need to be mentioned separately. So that I encode in my salutation. Say, dear Professor X and Professor Y and all of you, comma, and then the rest of my email, right? So for you also, you think if you think that you're writing to a group of people, but one or two among them are a little important because of the positions and the designations they hold, their names you will have to put in separately and then put everybody else in the last category, which is all of you, right? But if no such hierarchy exists, then you simply go ahead and say dear all. That is the most formal way of doing it, right? And the next two options, which is hello everyone and hi everyone, this is more or less the same. I don't see much of a difference between hello and hi. When you say hello and hi, this is basically you writing to somebody who's very familiar to you and who's at the same level as you, the organization. Okay. Between hello and hi, maybe some people say hi is like a little less formal than hello, but I do not see it as a great difference. It should basically mean the same whether you say hello or not. Okay. So in that sense, if you look at it, you have two options. One is dear all and then hello or hi everyone, if people are all at the same level. If there's a difference in the hierarchy, then like I mentioned, you mention the people who are higher up in the hierarchy separately and then write all for the rest of the people. Okay. Yeah. Any question?
Yes, ma'am. How I write to a person who don't have a name and a gender, like a branch manager of a bank?
Hmm. So you say dear sir or madam, right? I think the next slide is on that. When you do not know who you're writing to. Yeah, this one. Writing an email to someone whose name is not known. I don't know who am I writing to. Okay. So if that is the case for you, if that is the case for you, then what do? You simply say dear sir or madam. Okay. I don't know who it is. I don't even know the gender of the person. I don't know whether I'm talking to, female, male, third gender. I have no idea about that. So in such cases, you simply say dear sir or madam. Okay. But there's one thing that you need to keep in mind here. I have seen a lot of people in the email write this. Okay. So when they're writing dear sir and madam, you say, am I not able to type? Dear sir, then there is an oblique and then there's a madam. See this in your chat? So don't write it like that. Right? Dear sir, slash and then madam, oblique and then madam. You always write it as dear sir or madam. You write or. Okay. The reason being you are not allowed to use symbolic language in professional emails. No symbols are allowed, right? Because the same slash could mean anything that has more than one meaning, right? Explicitly has more than one meaning, and symbols are always prone to interpretations. People can interpret it in their own ways. So anything of that sort will not be included here. So, dear sir or madam. Should we write sir first or madam first? Dear sir or madam, dear madam or sir. There is no particular hierarchy there. Okay. It's your choice whether you want to write sir or madam or sir. Everything is fine. Okay. If there are more than one persons involved, you can say dear sirs. You can also say dear madams. Right. These are all combinations that are allowed. Sorry. Okay. All right. What is this? At least something is Indian in English. So there are many things Indian in English. People have written books about this. What are Indian English constructions? Don't worry about that. All cultures contribute equally, and that is the beauty of English. It has contributions from all people because everybody has learned it for different purposes, whether that's for academics or jobs. Whether we like it or not, all of us have studied it in one form or the other, and we have given our contributions also to. Okay. So this is for writing to someone whose name is not known, and then there's some additional instruction. I don't know if it is very important. Let me read it. If you know someone very well, use hello and hi without the person's name. Alternatively, one can also use, yeah. So basically, if you are over familiar with someone, say a friend, right, who works at your office, when you're writing to them, you either simply say hi, hello without any name, or you simply say the person's name without hi, hello. So if I'm writing to my friend, then I can say, hi, can you please pass this thing to me? Or in the sense, can you please forward the message or forward the file to my desk? Or I can simply say, Shreya, can you please forward the mail to me, right? So that option is also available in the non-formal use, non-formal constructions of salutations. That's all. This one, are we doing this? Oh, okay. So we are at the exercise part now. So just give me a moment. I'm going to share a link with you in the chat. I want you to sign into that and do some exercise here. Just a second. Let me go to that profile first. Okay, give students link copied. Just sign into that and let me know if you're able to access it. Okay, paste. There's a link in your chat. Please click on that. Go to that page and let me know if you're able to access it or not. Do you see the questions there? Write an appropriate salutation for each of the following email situations. Do you see that page for people who have joined?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Show controls. No, I don't need controls. It's okay. 1 of 11. Okay. So the first situation, can we do a little bit of an activity here? You are given a few situations here, about 5 of them. So you have to judge the formality of that situation and then tell me what would be a proper salutation. Okay, just take 1 minute or so. You can write it down and then we'll discuss. There could be formal, semi-formal, less formal situations. Judge them for their levels of formality, and accordingly, you tell me what salutation would be a good fit there.
Hello?
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, how to answer it, ma'am? Or we have to write the only option.
Yeah, just write down the answer. That's all.
Oh,
You can
you
use.
mean it is the full answer or only option number one, A, B, C, D, something like?
There is no option. No, there's only situations given to you. Just look at the situation and just say how will your salutation look. That's all. There's no options.
Oh, ma'am, a colleague messaged you to ask if you are free for lunch, ma'am. Another is
Yeah,
someone. So I have to type this one only.
correct, correct. No, not that. You type the salutation.
Okay, salutations about.
Okay. Yeah,
Got it, ma'am.
yeah. Yeah, I think many of you have responded. All of you have responded, in fact, except somebody has not joined, but that's fine at least. Take 1 more minute and then we can discuss what the answers are. Acha, don't write this. I see that some of you are writing the mail itself. Don't write the matter. I am just looking for your salutation part. That's all. Okay, we'll see. Let's look at what answers you have. So the question is, a colleague messages you to ask if you're free for lunch. So what is this? What is the situation like? Is it formal, informal, semi-formal? What is it?
Informal, ma'am.
Yeah, mostly informal, right? A colleague messages to ask you if you're free for lunch. So how will the salutation look like then?
Ma'am, hi.
Yeah, hi, hello, or hi and your name, or simply your name, right? Something of that sort. Second one, someone who you do not know writes to you to ask for a job. Someone whom you do not know writes to you
Ma'am,
to ask for a job.
dear, ma'am, dear
Dear.
XYZ.
Dear XYZ. Okay. Yeah, any other answers? Dear XYZ? Anything? Sorry. So just dear XYZ, or will there be a title also?
The title,
Should be dear Mr. or Miss. Yeah.
Correct. So there has to be a title, right? So for the second one, what you have is this is an unfamiliar person, right? A stranger you do not know. You're writing, and especially you're asking to write. You're writing for basically seeking a job. So dear, then it is followed. It's going to use the most formal version of salutation. Dear,
sir, ma'am, sir or please, ma'am.
dear sir or madam, yes. But more importantly, if you know the person, then you're going to use dear, then followed by title, followed by first name, sorry, followed by last name or full name. In case you do not know that, you will say, dear sir, where is it? Dear sir or madam, right? In case, sorry. In case you do not know, then you use dear sir or madam. But if the name is available, then you use this format, the most formal one that we discussed, dear, title, last name, or full name. Okay. All right. Then what is your third one? Your colleague emails you for the transfer of an urgently required document.
Ma'am, hello, Praveen or whatever name it is,
Mm.
colleague name.
Okay, so this is a colleague. This is where I wanted to pay a little attention, right? So this is a colleague, which means there is no hierarchical differences between you, but or there could be. We don't know because it just says colleague, right? So whether or not there's a hierarchical difference, since it is vague and it's not very clear from the context, what is clear from the context is that there is the 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 seriousness or the formality, the seriousness of the message that needs to be delivered, right? So along with the hierarchical differences between the people, what is also important in judging the formality of a given situation is the situation itself, right? So even if it is a friend who's writing to me, we could be at the same level. We could be colleagues with maybe a bit of a hierarchical difference. Yet, if the person is writing to me to get something serious resolved, or writing to me about something that is more formal and serious and official in nature, then that situation is also considered formal, right? Maybe not extremely formal, but still formal, right? One step below the most formal. So then how do you formulate the salutation in this case?
Ma'am, hello could be fit more because you can't say hi and you can't say dear to him.
Do you say hello even in that case? Which is why I said that hello is still a little less formal, right? So we have to keep it formal. We know each other. We are at the same level, or maybe we are not also. There's only a bit of a difference. We're very familiar. Still, my message is very serious, right? This is a formal message that I have to deliver. So in that case, even hello is not appropriate, right? Why am
In
I
that
not using it? Because hello gives a flavor of non-formality there, non-seriousness there. So to convey to the colleague or convey to my friend that, see, I'm conveying a very important information to you, I have to code it as a bit formal, right? So I write dear. I have to use the word dear there. Dear automatically means that I'm going to talk about something that is formal in nature. So dear, you can use the person's first name, you can uh, use their last name. Mostly, if you're familiar with each other, you can simply use the person's first name, right? So, dear XYZ, and that XYZ could be the first name of the person, mostly, right? That is how it is. Dear, and the first name of the recipient. So, I'm writing to my colleague, they say, Dear Shreya, I require your help with the auditing that is scheduled on so and so date. Please forward the files as early as possible, right? So I don't say hello Shreya. But hello automatically gives a an impression that it can lead to the formulation of an impression that this is not a very serious affair, right? So to keep the seriousness of the message and the purpose of the message intact, you make sure that your salutation is coded accordingly, right? So these are all different strategies people use in writing. This is not just about writing per se, it's also about strategic writing, right? It's more about strategy. We are simply using and we are playing with the language itself so that all these strategies that we want, all these messages that we want to deliver is coded perfectly. Okay. So that is why the third one will look like this and not hello and hi. The next one we have is a journalist writes to you to know the details of a workshop that your organization would conduct. Is the journalist familiar to you? Do you think there is a familiarity between you and the journalist?
Yeah, dear Mr.
No,
Mrs.
Most probably there is no familiarity. This person is
yes,
just
ma'am.
writing so that they can cover the event. So this will be, yeah, you're right. Somebody said the most formal version, right? Dear title followed by last name or full name, right? Or alternatively, don't know you, dear sir or madam, right? Any of this. Last one, you have to write an email to confirm your colleague's presence for an internal meeting.
In that case, dear
Dear
Mr.
then
Mr. or Mrs.
Dear and dear colleagues, right? Or dear all, because you have more than one person to address to. So, dear all or dear colleague, okay, colleagues, sorry, because this is a meeting. It's an internal meeting, yet it is a meeting, something that is serious. This is not a meeting that you're having to discuss for where to go for a lunch, right? This is a more official, formal sort of a meeting. So, dear all or dear colleagues, right? Or dear team, whatever these days. People also, I have seen people writing dear team. Okay. Dear team, dear colleagues, or dear all, any of that would fit this. Okay. All right. What do we have next? Yeah. So look at the following ways of beginning an email. Number them from 1 to 4 according to how formal you think the beginnings are. 1 is the most formal and 4 is the least formal. So basically just rearrange, right? Just rearrange the number. That should be enough. 1 is the most formal, 4 is the least formal. Yes, just 10 seconds task. 2, 1, 3, 4. Okay. Three, 4. Okay. Okay, a lot of you, I think many of you say 2, 1, 3, 4, right? So, dear Mrs. Rafia, yes, that is the most formal. Then comes dear Satya, yes, that is second most. 3 is Hailal, that's the third one, third most, yes. And Sheila, the last one. Fourth one is your least formal one, right? So 2, 1, 3, and 4. Okay. So that should be the order of formality. What do we have here? Okay. Rewrite the following sentences in formal style. Okay. Yeah, this task is what I wanted to do. To talk to you about in between. So I think most probably we look at this. Then we also, if time permits, then we are going to also take a little bit of a look at subject line and then close for today. But let's do this activity first. So I told you that the language you use in the professional emails need to be formal. So obviously the question would be, how do I make it formal, or which part of my sentence? If of course my emails are formed of sentences. So how do I make my sentence formal? Which part of the sentence should be formalized or made formal so that my mail itself or the sentence itself looks formal? Now your clue is always focus on the verb in the sentence, right? The verbs of the sentence have to be always formal. Check whether the given verb or the one that you have written is formal enough, right? The first one we'll do together. We got the goods yesterday. So what is the verb in the sentence?
Got.
Got, right? So what is a formal version for got?
Received.
Received, right? So got becomes received in the formal usage. So it's the same thing, but we are formalizing it for the sake of the professional nature that it needs to undertake, right? The got is a very, very conversational use of the verb. So we received, right? We received. So remember, when you're formalizing the sentence, using language in the formal form, your first target is the verb of the sentence. You need to use a formal version of the verb always, right? Second is, of course, the target can also be nouns. So this is in order, right? The first target is the verb of the sentence. Second would be the nouns in the sentence, right? Not all nouns will have to be formalized. Not in all cases you will have to look at the noun and then go and formalize it. In some cases, you might have to do that, right? Which is why it falls only second to the verb in the category, right? Verbs, definitely they will have to be formalized. Okay, so that is the first category. That's the first part that you are going to attack as far as formalization process is concerned. Second are the nouns, right? So in this sentence, you have the goods. So how can I change the goods into something more formal?
Articles.
Articles, okay. We received the articles, yeah. Articles works fine. Any other answers? Something more common. Articles are fine, actually. That's not a wrong answer. Products, right? Products. Products is also something that you can use for formalizing the sentence. So now what we have is we received the products, and then you have the last part, the adverbial phrase, right? The adverb here in the sentence, yesterday, right? Now, is it necessary to change it? No, right? We could simply say we received the products yesterday. Some people, they want to go an extra mile, so they might change even this yesterday. However, it's not really, really important that you change the adverbial parts of your sentence, but you understand what adverbial parts mean, right? The ones which refer to the location or the time or the manner and all of those things. Maybe that part doesn't require as much of a change, formalization, particularly if they are words like this: yesterday, today, tomorrow. That's not really required. It's not absolutely necessary. But if you're someone who likes that extra punch of formality, then why not? Right? So if I have to change it, then I would say we received the products. How do I say this? Yesterday, how can I change it? I could either
The
say the
last day.
previous day,
The last day.
not last day, not last day. You either say the previous day, we received the products the previous day, or we received the products the day before. Okay. So any of this you can use. But remember, this is not a necessity, right? You're not required to do this, absolutely. What you're required to formalize are definitely the verbs and the nouns some of the time. Sometimes you can even retain the noun part also. But if you think there is a better formal way of representing it, then you can change it. Adverbs, rarely people change, okay? This is only for the ones who want to keep it extremely formal. They'll go ahead and change this yesterday, today, tomorrow also to a phrase, right? Like yesterday is the previous day, the day before, or tomorrow is the day after, or the following day. So these kind of changes people do make, right? But remember, they're not necessary. Okay, so if that is the case, can you look at questions 2 to 6 and tell me how it changes? You can write it down. Take some time, take 2 3 minutes, and we'll discuss. Okay, are we done? Okay, people are still writing. Okay, continue. Okay, one more minute. Then we can discuss. I'm reading your answers. They're all in all good, but a little bit of more adjustment. Okay. So I think we'll discuss so that we are not losing our time today. I don't know if I'll be able to do the subject line, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, discuss your answers. So we want to ask about your new product, right? So what part did you change here first? What should ideally be changed here, right? The verb, right? So which you have a serial verb here.
We would like to know about your new product.
We want to ask. You changed want to we would like. Yeah, that's correct. That's a right way of doing it. We would like. Yes, and then the rest of it to ask.
About your new product.
You didn't change ask. We have to change that whole part, right? So we would like to.
No.
We would like to. So ask is not no. No and ask are two different things, right?
Inquire.
Inquire. Yes. We would like to inquire about your new product. We would like to inquire about your new product, right? That's how you do that. Then next is, we are sorry that the order was late. So what's your verb here? We are sorry that the order was late. Okay,
Apologize.
so here we don't have a main verb. Yeah, yes. Apologize, yes. So you could either say we apologize, or you could also say we regret, right? So regret is, this one is like a very common usage. You would see even in the um, messages that you get from Amazon and all that online, right? In case there's an order that's cancelled or something, they send you, we regret to inform you that. So this one, either you say we apologize or you say we regret that the order was late. So anything that you need to change from that part?
Delay.
Delayed, yes. Right. So we apologize that the order was delayed, or we regret that the order was delayed. Okay. Correct. So that is that. Okay. Fourth one. Yeah, I'm interested in this one. Let me know if the date is okay. Let me know if the date is okay. Now, this is not informal. This is what I call as something that is more. It's less formal. It's not even semi-formal. It's a little below even that, right? So it's less formal, but it's not entirely informal. But now we have to convert this into the formal style. Let me know if the date is okay.
I would like to know that date is perfect.
Okay, so you change the mood of the sentence, right? So from a subjunctive mode, you want to move to an indicative mode where you say, I would like to,
Ma'am, please
uh,
inform me if the date is suitable.
sorry,
Please inform me if the date is suitable.
please inform me if the date is
Suitable.
suitable. Okay, right. I take in all that. So the first answer, it's all of you. What you're doing is you're changing the mode of the sentence, right? You're like, okay, I'll write this in an indicative mode. That's okay. That's also one way of doing that. But most commonly, what people say is very simple. You simply say kindly or please, right? You say kindly let me know, or please let me know, or you say kindly confirm the date with me. Okay, please confirm the dates with me. So you can change it into a simpler form, very simple. You don't have to add anything there. You simply say kindly confirm. So this is if the date is okay, right? So this part is the confirm thing. So please confirm if the dates are fine with you. Please kindly confirm if the dates work for you. Okay. Or if you are not doing anything like that, I just want to retain the subjunctive section, then I still add, please let me know if the date is fine with you. Kindly let me know if the date works for you. Okay, all of these are different versions of writing the same thing. What you wrote, it's okay, but I think you can add a bit of more formality to write, especially words like suitable. If the word is suitable for you, is not a good construction, right? It's not how you frame a sentence. What you're actually required to do is confirm with the person. That person has to confirm with you whether the dates are fine. So it's a confirmation question basically. So you bring in the word confirmation or confirm in that. That's the point, right? Okay. Or something that is equivalent to confirmation or confirm and is more formal in usage. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
I am saying all of these things because these are all some set phrases and words, right? So we've been reading this over and over again in all the formal emails. So since we are talking at a very, beginning stage, we are not looking at how you can make it, sound unique, right? The point here is what is required, not about how you can make it unique. That comes only later. Once you're learned how to put these things together, of course, you can look for more diverse and unique ways of how I can write the same sentence in a different way. This sounds trite and boring. I want to have my own coinage in a formal way that you can try at your end. Okay. All right. Fifth one, if you need any more help, if you need any more help.
Ma'am, we can change the, I mean,
If you need any further
sentence hold or
assistance,
yeah. Addition, you can see, please let me know if you need any assistant, I mean, additional assistance.
Please let me know if you need any extra assistance. Okay. So forget about what comes later. If you're just looking at that particular strip of the sentence, right? That chunk of the sentence, if you need any more help. If I have to make this formal, it's a very simple way to do that.
Do you need any help?
Do you need any help is a question. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that if you need any help, please write to me. That is the point I'm trying to make.
if you need
So,
any
one,
further assistance,
if you need any further assistance, okay. If you want to change that, we can do that. If you need any further
And,
assistance, yes.
and
Okay.
we
If
can
if
say
you need
need
any,
to
if you need
require.
any additional assistance,
If you need any additional assistance, okay. Fine. Further
And we can
assistance,
change
additional
need to
assistance.
require.
If you need any further requirement, no.
No,
If you
no.
require,
If
oh,
you
if you
require any
require
further.
any, okay, yeah. Change need to require, okay. That is one thing. So you're right. So need will change to require. More help will change to further or additional assistance. Yes, all that is right. There's one more word that you need to change to make it formal. Particularly if it is like if you're aiming for the most formal version, then
kind, uh,
it's the word if. Okay. So you
change
simply change
kindly.
if to not kindly. You say should. Okay. Should you need any further assistance? Should you need any additional assistance? Okay. This is the most formal version of that sentence. Simply change if to should. Okay. Should you need or should you require? Okay. You say require. Should you require any further assistance or should you require any additional assistance, kindly write to me at the earliest. Okay. So should you need, should you require. Okay. That is the most formal way you can write down that bit of the sentence. Should you require any further or additional assistance, kindly write. Okay. Sixth one, I can't wait to see you. Of course, this is definitely not a formal way of representing anything. What is this a clone of? This one is a clone of that closing remarks that you have in the email, right? I can't wait to see you is basically what?
And we can say, I am looking forward to seeing you.
Not I am looking forward. You're right. Your construction is grammatically a bit off, but you've identified it correctly. I look forward. I look forward
To see.
to. How do you write that? I look forward to see you
Seeing you.
or see with you. How do you write it?
We can
I
say
look forward to.
seeing you. Seeing you.
I look forward to meeting with you or I look forward to seeing you. Okay. Here, because the verb given to us is, I think it is there in your one of the this things, closing remarks, right? See this one, the first and the is. Let me first check if is my screen stuck. Can you like see anything?
Yes, ma'am. Useful phrases.
I think now you can see. Now you can see. So look at this one, right? So in our question, what we have is C. So mostly we are going to use the second option here. Sorry, not the second, third option. This one. I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay. Here I don't know what do we have. Let me check it. So here there is no time frame given. So I can't wait to see you. I look forward to seeing you. Okay. I look forward to seeing you. So if the verb changes to hearing or something of that sort, then you have other options. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to meeting with you. Right. So this is the way you formulate this particular sentence. Okay. All right. Fine. I think it's 7:30 already. So we'll take up the subject line. It's good that we are doing it tomorrow. I need a little more time to spend on that. So
Ma'am,
half an hour we'll talk about that. Do the activity, then go to the final email writing. Yeah, please go ahead. Do you have a question?
yes, ma'am. When we will use, I will get back to you soon. Is that in case of inquiry or
Sorry, come again. I did not hear you well.
when we will use the closing remark? I will get back to you soon. Is that in the case of any inquiry or?
No, I will get back to you soon is actually a wrong construction. You know, getting back to somebody means very different. Okay, to get back at someone means to go and settle scores with them. Basically, it means to fight with somebody. I've seen this thing being used very commonly in our space also. I'll get back to you. Okay. So I'll get back to you basically means, no, it's very similar to saying कि मैं तुमको देख लूंगा. So that is a wrong construction. So we know that what that thing means in Hindi, right? We know that this is a threat. You're basically telling that person that I'm going to settle the scores with you. So where has this come from? This has come from our construction. So we think that getting back basically means to see that person again. That's a wrong usage. It has a very negative meaning. It's not something that you write in. Okay. So I'll get back to you soon is not the right way. You say I look forward to meet with you. So not even if you're not writing it in the professional email context, you'll still say that I will talk to you later. Okay. Or I'll get back with the details to you later. Okay, not I'll get back at you. That is wrong. Okay. No, these things are very casually used in our workspaces.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
right?
I
I've seen
myself
this.
used
I mean, that's okay. There are some kinds of constructions. They're very common. Some of these constructions, we very, very innocently use them. Stand in the meaning consequences of them in a place where or in a space where English is predominant. Like for us, it was okay. Maybe in our context, people will not read that. But when you speak to someone who's a native speaker or at least comes from a place where English is predominant, they will be like, oh, but what are you getting for it? So that kind of constructions could become problematic for us in such context. But yeah, we have some cultural understanding. So maybe in India, not. Okay. All right. So we'll continue with the subject line tomorrow. This is quite something that requires quite a bit of discussion. So we'll do that and then do the exercise, and then finally we'll just maybe quickly show you those useful phrases and all. This is actually the only thing which requires some discussion. We'll finish that up and then we'll go to the proper email writing, right? Once we have all this in place, we'll also discuss the body part and then go to the full email writing. Okay. All right. Thank you for joining in. I'll see you tomorrow again. Hope you can join for that as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. See you everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.